Hey, good afternoon. In this tutorial, I'm going to be attempting a selected word processing question, and the question is right here. Now, this is a sample word processing question I've selected from one of the questions I always do in practical lessons, and it's about word processor, where we are required to load a file that is renamed modernization.rtf, and we save it as our name so that we do the following questions. Note that in the description of the video, this file modernization will be available in case you want to also do the question, you want to do some practice regarding this very question. You can find the file in the description of this very video. Now, the video is about advanced level, that is senior 6, the year 2025, and I've done at least some videos about Excel in the senior 6 class, and I've also done Access in the very class, and the links are also going to be available in the description that can of course direct you to all those other videos that are for advanced level. The videos for new curriculum, that is O level, will also be coming in next month at the channel. Now I'm going to load the file modernization, and then I'll save it as my name, and then I'll do the rest of the questions. Now I've created my folder, and let me rename it, of course, my name. Then I open the folder, and I have to load a file modernization. I will look for modernization in my support folders database to see whether I can get it there. So when I search for modernization using the quickest way, modernization is right here. I'll just copy it, and then I take it to my folder. So this is my folder where I've placed modernization. And of course, when you copy a file, before opening it, you should rename it if you're told to do so. According to the question, I'm told to rename it as my name. So I could right click at it, then I select rename, and then of course I type my name there. So that is it with the question of loading the file and saving it as my name. That is part A. Part B is include the title of the article as modernization theory. Let me first open what I've loaded so that I can give it my title, modernization theory. Okay, now that my file is opening up, and it is right here. So this is the file I've loaded, and I'm going to just rename it modernization theory. So this is the file I'm going to use in this tutorial of word processing. Now this is it, and I'm going to give it a title, modernization theory. I'm going to click at the first letter of the work, then I hit enter, then I hit arrow up so that I can type my title as modernization theory. So this is my title, modernization theory, and it is the question that is at part B, and I've done it. So the next part C is center, bold, and apply a font color blue with size 20, and then dotted underline to the title. So I want to center and then bold my title. I want to highlight it, I will center it, then I'll bold it. It's already bold. And then according to the question here, center, bold, then size 20 with a dotted underlining. So size 20, I pick it from, of course, size 20, and then with the blue color, I missed out the blue color, I think, and the dotted underlining. Blue color is right here under colors. I'll just point at blue to confirm whether it's blue. Then dotted underlining is right here. So that is the approach of that question. I'm going to go to the next part, that is part D. It is justify and apply font size 14 to the body of the document. I'm going to justify at the body of the document, and I give it size 14. So I'm going to highlight all the body of the document, and then after highlighting it all, I can go to home, then I select justify here, and size 14 is also here. Now that is it with the question. If I click within my body, of course it's 14 displayed and justified is checked here. So wherever I click in my body, 14 displayed and justified, it is highlighted. Next part, that is part E. Generate a table of content for the article automatically on the first page. So I'm required to generate a TOC, or a table of contents, automatically on the first page. Now, table of contents, of course, very common at the new curriculum, that is Senior 3 in Word Processing 2. Learners are supposed to be taught how to generate table of contents in word processing, and of course this part of the video is so important to a learner of Senior 3 new curriculum offering ICT. Now I made a summary on how a table of content can be generated easily in word processors, and this is it. I want to follow the summary I made so that I generate a table of content at my document I'm trying to format. So this is the simple approach on how we can generate a table of content in Word documents. How to insert a table of content in Word documents. Number one is apply your heading table of content on top of your document. So number one is we apply a heading on top of our document, and the heading is table of content. I want to go to the top of my document, of course under my title. I want to click at the start of the letter C here, and then I press enter. I create space by pressing arrow key. So I want to type a heading table of contents. Table of contents, it's like a feature that is directing a user of a textbook on what to find at a specific page. For example, if I want to look up I want to look for where the introduction is in a page, I could use a table of content to locate a page. If I want to look for the conclusion of the textbook, I could use a table of content to look for the page where conclusion is found. If I want to look for another section of a textbook, I could use a table of content to help me do that. So after creating my heading table of content, number 2 is highlight your headings appropriately. That is heading 1 and heading 2. Yes, I want to highlight my headings appropriately. That is heading 1 and heading 2, so that I can continue to create a table of content. So I want to highlight chapter 1 as my first heading. I want to give it heading 1. And then of course 1.0, 1.1, they are all under chapter 1. So I want to highlight them, and then I give them heading 2 because they are under chapter 1. And remember, I've given chapter 1 heading 1. So I want to highlight the 1.1, the 1.2. I scroll. I'm highlighting while holding the control button. I hold the control button, I highlight this. I release control, I scroll, because when I'm holding control while I'm scrolling, it's going to zoom my page in and out. But remember, I want to just highlight the headings. So I hold control again, highlight this, release control, scroll to the next one, highlight. There are now 3. Release control, go to this, control again, highlight, again control, I hold control, highlight, highlight again. So all these ones are under heading 1, that was chapter 1, and it stops here. If I go to the culture courses, that's why I was talking about highlighting the headings appropriately. So I'm going to give these ones heading 2 because they have been under chapter 1. Now starting from this, the culture courses I'm going to highlight it, then I can give it heading 1 because I know there are some courses under it. So I'm going to highlight, I'm going to hold, I'm going to just highlight this as the first heading under the culture courses. I'm going to highlight it, hold control when I'm highlighting another option. Let me scroll and see where there's some other option. This is 1.5. Now this is 1.6. I'm going to hold control again, then I highlight 1.6, release control, highlight 1.7. Again I scroll, I highlight 1.7, stage 1. I can highlight this as well, I can highlight this as well. I release control, I scroll, highlight this, I'm holding control, highlight this, I'm holding control, and I'm going to stop at 7.5 so that I give them heading 2. I'm giving them heading 2 because I'd given the culture courses heading 1, and I felt these headings are under the culture courses. That's why I talked of highlighting the headings appropriately. So I'm going to scroll and then I highlight conclusion separately, and I'm going to make conclusion heading 1 so that I just sum up with whatever I'm doing with the highlighting for the table of content. Now if you're done with highlighting all your headings appropriately in your document, you're going to scroll back to the top, table of contents, where the T is, the end of the word table of contents. I press enter, then I go to the reference tab, because at step 3 I talked of use the home tab in the styles group. The home tab was just used to highlight the headings, and of course I've been highlighting the headings using the styles group. Now the next point is return to where you typed the table of content. I'm at step 4, and use the reference tab to locate the table of content and use an automatic TOC. So I'm going to click here, and then I go to references, then I use an automatic TOC under table of content. So I'm going to click at table of content, then I locate an automatic table 1, and it's the first one on top. So if it's the first one on top, I'm going to click at it, and then it's going to generate an automatic table of content in my document. But of course it is automatic, but it needs to be updated according to what I'm going to do to my document. Now after generating my table of content, I'm going to scroll to my other pages to see whether the content is appropriately stationed at a page. For example, if I have space here, I can click there, then I use backspace. Same applies to the other headings. Let me scroll and see whether all my work is okay. Then here, backspace. Then here I remove the space. Then here I remove the space so that I have something that's really looking okay. Conclusion. Okay, this is it with my content. If I scroll back to table of content and then I click at it, I can click at this update table, then I click at update the entire table, then I click OK. You see that when I click OK at update the entire table, my pages change. For example, chapter 1 is at page 2, and of course when I scroll to chapter 1, it's found at page 2, etc. And chapter and capital list is at page 3. So if I go to page 3, I have capital list there. It's around here. Now that is how you create a table of contents in a document easily, and the steps here can really help you create a table of content easily. So if you can pause the video and take a screenshot or a picture, whatever, it can help you when creating a table of content in Word documents. Okay. Next, it's part F. Apply or add page numbers in the form of 1 of 2. Apply page numbers in form of 1 of 2. So I'm going to apply page numbers in the form of 1 of 2. I'm going to just click at insert, then I go to page numbers right here, and then I locate bottom and I select 1 of 2. I'm going to just scroll and look for 1 of 2 or x of y. It's just the same. So I want to just click at this, and then the pages are generated in form of 1 of 2. Now it's 1 of 7 because I have 7 pages. So that is the page numbering that I really want at That's my work. So I'm going to just highlight this, and maybe I want it in the center. I'm going to look for the center feature. So that is it with the pages 1 of 2. I'm going to click at header and footer, then I close the footers from the X. Next is part G. Insert an endnote in the last paragraph as document source http www.development.com. So I want us to insert an endnote in the last paragraph. So I'm going to scroll to my work. I go to the last paragraph. It's here. I click at the end of it. Then I go to references. I look for endnotes. This is insert endnote. I click at it, and then in our endnote we should have this content here, the document source. I can copy it and I can paste it here in my endnotes. Okay, so that is it with the question part F. While I go to part, actually it's part G, I go to part H. Insert your name and a random number as a watermark. So I want to insert my name and a random number as a watermark. Depends on what type of watermark you want to insert. One, if I want to insert a normal watermark, I go to design, then I look for watermark here, then I locate a custom watermark right here. After locating a custom watermark, I'm going to check text watermark and I type my name as a watermark, Kasozi Marvin Mark, maybe a personal number. Then I can give it a color, then I click at apply, then okay. Now that is a watermark that's going to be inserted at all your pages from page 1 up to page 7. Now it depends on what type of watermark you're doing. If you want a watermark at a section of a page, for example, you want a watermark at only the last page, I'm going to click at the last page, then I go back to watermark, but this time around I'm going to right click at this first type of watermark, and then I select insert at current document position. You see the watermark is applied on the last page only, and all other pages do not have the watermark. If I zoom my pages, you see they all don't have a watermark apart from the last page. And of course you may want to just change the confidential to your name. You're going to click at a letter so that that symbol is displayed. Right click at any of the circles around, select edit text, and then you can put your name there as a watermark. Yes, if I click OK, the name appears at the last page only as a watermark. Depends on the type of question you're doing concerning watermark. Now in this question, we're just putting a watermark at all the pages, that is part H. So the watermark is applied to all the pages in my document. I want to just go to insert, then actually design, then watermark, then I go to custom watermark, and then text watermark. I remove ASAP, I put a name, so the Marvin Mark 001. Then I give it a color, and then I insert it at my work. So that is it with the number of watermark. I go to the next number, that is part I. Perform a spell check in your document to remove all spelling and grammar errors. Now the spell check that you can perform at a very big document should be automatic, and it should be fast instead of right clicking at each and every spelling error or grammatical error you may have in your work. So if I want to perform a spell check in the entire document for spellings and grammar, I'm going to use the review tab. I'm going to scroll to the top of my work first, then I go to the review tab here, and then I look for spelling and grammar, and I want to get a proofing dialog box displayed where each and every wrong spelling is going to be highlighted, and then it's up to you to use a suggestions box to put the right spelling. So if I click at the suggestion box, my spelling is going to be corrected, and the machine is going to push me to the next errors I may have. They could be grammatical errors or spelling errors. I want to click at these errors that it's corrected, then I click at each and every error so that they are all corrected. If the suggestion is empty, I want to click at ignore all. I click at the right suggestion, right suggestion, right suggestion, right suggestion. I keep on clicking at the right suggestion so that's my spelling and grammar errors are corrected. This one is follows majority, I think it's space. This one is the space again. This one space. You see, most of them I think it is space, that is grammar. Same applies to this and this. Keep on clicking at the right suggestions. So that's my spellings and grammar are all corrected. This one is dependent, this one is ensures, this one is 5, this one is centers, and it seems they're all corrected by this dialog box. I've got spelling and grammar check is complete. Click OK. So it means that the entire document of mine is not having anything like a wrong spelling or some wrong error. It is all correctly generated. Next is create a purple page border of 6 points on only page 1 of the article. So my article should only have a page border and it is 6 points at page 1. So if I want to do that, I'm going to click at page 1 first. Then I look for borders under design. My borders are here. Depends on the version you're using. For some users, if you're deciding to use a version of maybe 2010, the old versions, so 2007, something like that, you can use the insert tab to locate borders, or you can even use home to use the kind of border here. But under design, the type of border I'm using is page border. Then I click at 3D, or I can click at box, and then I give it a purple color because the question wanted me to use a purple color, but 6 points. But again, it's only on page 1, this section, first page only. So I click at that, then I click at OK, so that my purple 6 pt border is only generated at page 1. If I zoom, you see it's only page 1 with a purple border. That's it with a question of a border. Now the last question is printing your work, having formatted all the work appropriately according to what you want. You're supposed to print your work. So if I want to print my work, I want to just go back to my work. I use a Ctrl P shortcut, or I can click at file, then I click at print, and then the machine is going to look for the available printers. I always use this type of printer. It depends on the type of printer you use. Select the printer, then you choose the number of copies you want. In most cases, you leave copies to 1 and then print. Do you want to print on one side or manually on both sides? I can decide to print manually on both sides, and then I click at print so that my document is printed through the printer. Now that is it with the question of Word, a trial question of Word, and it's been about modernization. As promised that I would do some advanced level questions. The latest video I've done, it was about Excel and its advanced level. Same applies to this question. It can help advanced learners, that is subsidiary ICT, and it can also help learners of senior 3 through the table of content I've just done in this tutorial. Thank you for the feedback, thank you for the comments, the subscriptions, etc, more videos to come. I'll now embark on more S4 paper 2 videos. They are to come in the next month, so stay here for more and more videos. Thanks for watching, thanks for your time, bye bye.